And right here on this main intersection in the center of the city, they deleted all pedestrian crossings. Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And today we're going to talk about the arrogance of space in Warsaw. Let me tell you more about it. Wrong Way. And before you watch this video, I highly recommend watching Michael's video from the channel Life-Sized City on this subject, where he talks about urban planning issues in cities across the world. It is a topic that bothers me for a very long time, but this video from the channel Life-Sized City finally put my thoughts in one place and has shown me the issues that we as personal electric vehicle users, cyclists, pedestrians, people are encountering every day. And the term arrogance of space is really important here, because in this video I will highlight to you my issues that I have encountered in Warsaw, where cars and automobiles are using just way too much space on the street and in the city. And a little backstory on Warsaw. Warsaw is a city that was basically totally destroyed during the Second World War and was built up by Soviet standards back in the day. And even though the situation with bike lanes and pedestrian zones and crossings is getting better every year, there's still a lot of stuff to do. Warsaw is full of very wide streets, traffic lights that change every 2 minutes very slowly. It's full of speeding cars and really full of parking lots and parking spaces that should be destined for pedestrian walkways and bike lanes. So without any further ado, let's get out there and show you the issues. And to see the first issue, I don't really have to go far from my home. It's basically just out of my doorstep. And you can see here there's a highway basically. And to see the arrogance of space the best, the method that Michael recommends is to just use Google Earth or a drone. And then you can see the top-down view of any intersection, any street, and so on. So here you can see that we have a highway just outside of regular housing apartments, which is absolutely not needed because people tend to speed here. And there is this intersection right here, and it's just for cars. The only zone for pedestrians is here and nothing else. If you want to cross the street as a pedestrian, well, that's not important. We don't want that. I think that this space, like this lane, should be used for cars to park or as a bike lane, and then have more space for pedestrians to go along the sidewalk. I basically always use the street here to go in this direction. If I wanted to use a bicycle, I would have to go all the way out down there to cross and go to the bike lane, which is on the other side, and it goes in two directions. Here we have an intersection which has a missing piece. It has no pedestrian crossing, no bicycle crossing from this side of the street to there. So the issue is that I use the bike lane on the other side of the road there. You can see it, from a top-down view. And if I want to go there to the bicycle lane, I have to go all the way 1, 2, 3 intersections, which is totally arrogant from car drivers and the designers of this intersection. You can see with a car you can go here, right, left, front, you can go turn around, no issues. But if you're a pedestrian, nope, you can't cross here. And really close to this area, there's another issue. You can see it's a very wide road, definitely no read for it. Here's a lot of parking spaces that occupy the sidewalk, but the most important part is this intersection right here. Here you can see that there is very little space for people to go. You can see.
What on earth is going on?
Anyhow, don't mind me here you can see there's even more parking spaces. There's an elevated sidewalk, which is, you know, sort of fine, but there could be definitely more. But this intersection right there, I hope you can see it right. There's again a pedestrian crossing lacking on this side. And the lights here are very long for cars. And right there is a metro station. So you see there's a lot of people always waiting at this intersection for an empty street. So what starts happening? People start to go on a red light, which I do as well. And then, you know, accidents happen because cars here are speeding along. Yeah, this is another example of arrogance of space. There's no pedestrian crossing, streets are too wide. And if we go just a tiny bit further in this direction, you can see that even the sidewalk here is occupied by cars, making less space available for people to cross. There's no bike lane, etc. And I highly also encourage you to post on your Facebook page. If you have a YouTube channel, post on your YouTube channel a video or a photo where you can see clear examples of arrogance of space, because it's a really, really important topic, and I think we can finally move on to prioritize you know, personal electric vehicles, bicycles, pedestrians as a part of the city instead of cars. Here in this space you can see another example. There is a turn which is clearly preferred for cars. It's not very sharp, it uses a lot of space. There are a lot of people waiting, and you can see that if it turns green, yeah, you have to find a kind driver to not be overrun by it. And there's even a bigger issue. So here is the bicycle lane and it ends here. And the problem is when you have such wide streets, people just tend to go really fast. I'm going 50 now, or 45, and cars are still passing by. And there's no bicycle lane. Cars really tend to go fast on wide streets and with long lights. So the issue is that at this point, bicycle riders start to get scared to get on the road, which is, you know, reasonable. And you can see clearly that there's just so much space on the road here where it's not needed. And the worst part is that this is the Puławska Street, and the space for people here, for pedestrians, for bicycles, is really, really limited, and there is basically no space just accumulated for bicycle riders. And here you can see the space for pedestrians. It's basically a meter of sidewalk, which is oftentimes also used for bicycle riders that are scared to go on the street. On the other side of the road, it's totally the same thing. And in some places they did install these sort of, you know, poles to just have more room here. This street is ridiculously prioritized for cars. Just a meter of sidewalk. Now it's really not busy because it's, you know, 11 a.m. in the morning, and I can go like freely here, but believe me that if this street gets crowded, it's really difficult to cross here just walking, and especially if there are like cyclists also passing by here because they're scared of going on the sidewalk. Here we can see another great example. Huge crossing. Cars can go from there, cars can go from here. Not one single pedestrian crossing from here or from the other side of the road. This is pure arrogance of space. Warsaw also has a couple of these squares, or no, circled roundabouts, like in France, which are absolutely overcomplicated. They have like a middle lane for some reason. They have, you know, 3 outside lanes and lights here and there, where there should be basically just a roundabout, parking spaces on the street here, and definitely much more room for pedestrians. Definitely this roundabout doesn't need a lane that just goes through the roundabout to make the cars cross the street faster. But Warsaw also does have some of its good parts, like for example here we have a 2-way bike lane. I would prefer a 1-lane bikeway because it's still pretty, you know, narrow to go in both directions. And there is more space for pedestrians as well, but still 2-lane highway here on the left. I think it should be like 1 lane, because and car parking, yeah, get it out there, make room for restaurants, just for space for people. You can see here that this street, this street has been closed off for car traffic. You can just go here with a bicycle or a scooter, which happens from time to time, which is really nice. There are also very wide sidewalks on either side, and there's no parking space on the sidewalk. So here we can see a really big improvement. Here on the Świętokrzyska we also do a lot of group rides because we have bicycle lanes on either side. Sadly, you know, cars still tend to take up the spot, but happily it's a street which runs both ways. So yeah, this is a bit of the good stuff. I will also show you the area which I like probably the most in Warsaw, which are the Bulwary Wiślane. Essentially, going along the Vistula River, there is a zone which is only for pedestrians and only for users of personal electric vehicles and bicycles. So to use freely, there are no cars allowed, just the cars that do the transport for the restaurants. So, you know, we'll check it out right there. But maybe a small peek in arrogance here. Still a lot of space is used up by cars on either side of the road, which, you know, now it's not a problem, but if you do arrive here on rush hour, it's pretty annoying. All right, so this is sort of Warsaw sign, the mermaid, right here. Syrenka Warszawska. We can see a nice bridge here, which also has pedestrian and bike walkways on either side, which is super nice. And we can just go here. And this right here is a bike path that is maybe 15 kilometers long, really long. Starts way in the back. It connects with 2 of 5 major bridges directly. You know, so still there is a way to go because not all the bridges are connected like so easily as this one. Super wide area, you know, people just using the stuff. No cars involved, just restaurants, picnic areas. Yeah, I really love that. I really love that area, and I think it's one of the nicest places you can visit in Warsaw, which is of course Bulwary Wiślane. Lovely, lovely, lovely place. And yeah, I really like it. Here, arriving at the theater square. Now it's pretty empty again, but it's a bit sad that the biggest part of, you know, the theater square or whatever this thing is a huge parking space. Definitely need some trees here. Yeah, restaurants. Lots of possibilities to use up a space. At least, you know, there can be a parking space, but make it maybe a bit smaller, right? Okay, finally. And this is Plac Bankowy, and you can see that it's just a huge square for parking spaces, concrete, asphalt, and 3 lanes. Definitely no need here, and you can see there that there is here not really much sidewalk, just most of the stuff is parking space, as you can see here, divided by half. Okay, so now we have to move on to the big guns, the places that are absolutely the worst in Warsaw. You can see how wide these lanes are. You can see the bus there. This right lane is like 4 meters wide, or even more, 5-6 meters. And there is still no bike lane on the right side. Very little sidewalk on the side too. Here is a bike lane again, so this is pretty cool. They thought about it. But how wide are these streets? Come on, how wide of a street do you need to have? And here we have to go on the right. Boom. And right here, in the center of Warsaw, dead center, we have a huge intersection. It is a roundabout with 3 lanes. You can see the sidewalk width right here. Can barely squeeze in here. I have to get my pedal down to squeeze in. And right here on this main intersection in the center of the city, they deleted all pedestrian crossings. There's not a single pedestrian crossing on this huge ugly piece of a intersection. It's terrible. It has lights, it is slow, there's always traffic jams, and if you want to go and cross the street, you have to go down into the dungeons and find your way across this intersection. Just look at it from above. It's terrible. It's a very bad intersection, especially in the middle of a city where people just want to cross the street easily. No, but no bike lane. You can cross it, you know, with a bike, but you can imagine how fast cars are going on a 4-lane street where there is traffic lights every 500 meters, which are really long. So yeah, this is one of the worst intersections in Warsaw. And let me just show you the dungeons so you can see what's happening. So if you want to take your bike, you have to basically just, you know, stroll it around on this piece of metal. And this is the dungeons. It's a very popular place in Warsaw actually, because a lot of people have to cross here, and there's like, you know, shops and whatever. And yeah, if you want, there's also a tram stop right here. Here you have to go up to the tram, but luckily there's also a elevator that actually hopefully does work. And you can see that these tracks here are used very frequently, and I mean, I see people getting their bikes up here every time basically there's more people on the street. Okay, so now let's get on to the second spot, which is the pinnacle of arrogance. Here you can see that this is the train station, main train station in Warsaw. No intersection on this side, you have to go down again. Okay guys, so once again, main train station. Let me just take the sidewalk here for a minute. Still no bike lane, a bus lane, which is pretty nice. So this thing is I was so amazed the first time I saw it. I just didn't understand it. They built like bridge for cars to pass from this side to this side. You have another 2 lanes on the bottom. There's no bike lane. You can see the poor cyclist going across here. There's an intersection of trams right there, and there is not a single pedestrian crossing on the street. So if you want to go take the tram there, you have to go down here, you have to go below the ground and get up right there. If you want to go there, same thing. And the problem is that the cars here are just so freaking fast, and it's really not safe to go on the bike here, even if you're allowed to do so. It's terrible, it's really slow. You can see people still cross the street, and I think it's about time people start doing something about this intersection. It's really bad. See people there just going in the opposite direction. What the hell? Try to show you some other aspects of this intersection. And the next pedestrian crossing on this street is, believe it or not, in the air, like a kilometer later or 500 meters. It's absolutely insane. Now I'll show you this intersection from the other side, from the, you know, car's perspective. Once again, no bike lane. Not a single pedestrian crossing. Trams on either side, but to get to the trams you have to have the pedestrian crossing also. And you can see how fast the cars are here. And there's so few cars here, and still there's so much traffic. Not a single intersection. You have to go down into the dungeons. So guys, even though this video wasn't like a review or something, it's a bit different than usual videos on my channel. I hope you still enjoyed it. I highly encourage you to make pictures of Arrogance of Space on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. If you have a YouTube channel, spread the word about it. highly encourage you. Ginger on Wheels, Alien Rides, Sean, especially Sean, knows a lot of stuff about urban transportation, and I think it's a topic that we're all involved with. So it's time to make the urban environment for humans again, not for automobiles, but for bicycles, personal electric vehicles, and pedestrians. So if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.